Hey everybody, this is David, and today I'm going to be talking about Arrow Season 3, Episode 7, Draw Back Your Bow. So, this episode, I'm going to come out and say that it's probably my least favorite episode of the series so far. I'm shocked to say that, but during the entire episode, I was just kind of unimpressed. There were some things to enjoy about the episode, but for me, the not so great stuff was outweighing the good. And I probably enjoyed the Corto Maltese episode, which I think was episode 4 of the season. I think I probably enjoyed that episode a lot more than this one, which is saying a lot. And that one got a 7 out of 10 from me. I'm not going to tell you my rating for this episode yet. I want to go through the details on what I thought about it, and then I'll tell you my final rating at the end. So let's start off with the villain of this episode, Cupid, who apparently is a character from the comics. But as someone who is not familiar with that character, to me that doesn't matter. The character that I saw today on the show was kind of a little annoying to me. I did not like the character at all. I don't know if it was I think the actress did an okay job. I just felt the character was a little bit too over the top sometimes. That it felt a little cartoony, comic book-ish-y, I guess. And, from how the series has set up villains in the past, I mean, we've got some comic booky ones before, and especially since this one is from the comics, I didn't expect them to go that much out with it. I get the idea that it's an obsessed fan, but I felt they hammed it up a little bit. And that might just be me. I know other people might feel differently. I was reading some comments on Twitter that was being retweeted that some people was enjoying the character. For me personally, I did not enjoy the character at all. Actually, it's probably my least favorite villain of the series that we ever had. Villain of the week. The Oliver, Felicity, Ray triangle, to me it's all right, but personally I'd rather not have a love triangle going on. I just feel, again, it's one of those things that's a requirement to the CW to have like a romantic drama, romance drama going on, and for me, I could live without that when it comes to my superheroes, because to me, some of the best episodes of Arrow and even The Flash right now don't involve drama, or at least romantic drama, and that's the stuff that I feel like if they left that stuff out, the show could be a lot stronger. You'd think I'd love this episode even more because Laurel wasn't in it, but it just shows you it's not just Laurel all the time. Sometimes it is the writing. I felt the writing wasn't that great in this episode. For me personally, there were some parts where it seemed pretty good, but for the most part, yeah, this was a really weird episode, man. I just couldn't get into it that much. Even Brendan Routh, his character he seemed odd to me in this episode for some reason. And I like Brendan Routh. I think he's a great addition to the cast this season, and he's bringing some new dynamics. Especially when Oliver walked in on Felicity and Ray kissing, I thought, I'm glad he got over that pretty quickly, though. Not really completely over it, but I'm glad he told Roy, hey, come on, let's go. And they went to Diggle's place, took up Diggle's offer on having dinner that night. I thought that was pretty cool. So it's not like he stayed mad throughout the entire episode, because if this was Smallville, knowing Clark, he would have sat in the corner for the rest of the episode by himself, crying. And that's how the episode would have ended. At least Oliver, said, okay, let's go out to dinner, man. And they went out. They got, he was trying to get over it, moving on, which is hopefully, I have a feeling the issue is going to be brought up again. But for now, at least the way they ended it, it didn't end on a downer, you know? And it kind of ended a little bit on a bright note for Oliver. That there's still hope for him, that he might get over it. So let's hope for the best, because, yeah. Also, I thought Thea was really pointless in this episode. Her entire storyline in this episode was finding somebody to play music in the club, which I thought was dumb. So that's all she did in this episode. And then obviously got a peck on the lips from the guy who she hired. What's Roy going to think about that? I wonder if that's going to be brought up again, or if they'll just brush that under the table. Man, these women in this show today, I don't know what happened to them. Felicity was very beautiful, though. I think the actress, she's doing a fantastic job, and I think she's really did really well in this episode too. I thought all the actors were great in this episode. Acting wise, I had no problems with. It was just the way the characters were being treated and the way it was all executed, and especially the villain. The best thing I can say about this episode, there were a couple of moments, I guess, that I thought were okay. But obviously the stunts, the fighting sequence at the end there especially was like, those are always cool to watch. If you're going to watch an action scene on Arrow, Arrow is probably the best show right now when it comes to action sequences. And yeah, man, I enjoyed that little subway tunnel fight. That was pretty cool. Other than that, guys, I'm trying to think of something that was really good to me, but a lot of things that were going on didn't bother me too much. I still thought it was an okay episode. Besides the villain, who was annoying as hell. I'm gonna give this episode a 7 out of 10. My least favorite episode of the series so far. And this is me being generous, I think. I think me giving it a 7 is generous because I was thinking of giving it a 6 out of 10, but I'm gonna give it a 7 because despite the villain being like the weakest link of this episode and really bringing it down for me, there were still some other scenes to enjoy, and I really hope that they can try not to avoid this. I hope they avoid this type of episode again. I hope they don't I don't want to see Cupid back. Let's just put it that way. That setup at the end, though, that was pretty cool. Obviously, setting up for the Flash Arrow crossover, because Arrow's not coming back next week. It's actually going to be coming back the week after, because Flash needs to catch up, and then we are going to see this crossover between Flash and Arrow, which some pictures have already been released, and that boomerang that we saw there obviously is part of the episode of the Flash and Arrow crossover. So I'm going to be guessing that is Captain Boomerang, who is actually a Flash villain, but he's going to start off, we actually just saw him here on Arrow right now. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with the team up. You know, the crossover, to me, it's the most anticipated episode I've been looking forward to ever since I found out the Flash got his own series. So can't wait for that. But for today, yeah, you know, weakest episode of the series by far for me. So let's hope for a better episode next time. That's it.